What is going on, my fellow comic book readers, collectors, and enthusiasts alike? I'm your host, Alt, here at Control Alt Defeat Comics, and today it is Tuesday, so it is time for another Top Tuesday. And this week, we are going to be counting down my top 10 favorite comic runs of all time, favorite comic book storylines of all time. Before we get into this video, I do want to lay down a couple of rules I set myself for this video. And the number one most important rule is that the story itself has to be complete. Now, this does include single issues if it is a single issue story. For example, like an annual or a one-shot. If it is a single issue, one and done, there's not a continuation, then it counts for this list and it is allowed to be added onto this list. If the story is still ongoing, then it is not permissible. So, for example, even though Absolute Batman does have a completed story arc for its first story arc, it would not count as eligible on this list because Absolute Batman as a run and as a story is still ongoing. And that's also why I did not include the Absolute Batman annual, because I do not feel that it is fair to include that annual out on this list when the actual Absolute Batman storyline itself is not finished, and that is very clearly a part of that storyline. Even if it is somewhat its own self-contained story within it. It is still part of it. It is still part of his origin story within that universe. So, with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get on into this list. But before I do, I just want to take the time to say thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for everybody who has subscribed to this channel. I have just recently hit 38 subscribers, so I am well on my way to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So, if you have taken the time to subscribe to my channel, if you watched my content and you went, that was pretty good, I'm going to subscribe to that. Sincerely, thank you so much for helping push me towards my 100 subscriber goal. It means the absolute world to me, and I hope you go on to enjoy this video as well. And if you're not already subscribed and you do enjoy this video at any point, please subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. Any kind of feedback or commentary you can leave this channel is always greatly appreciated. So with that being said, let's roll right on into the video and start off with number 10. And number 10 on this list is going to be Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum by W. Maxwell Prince. Now, this is a 5-issue miniseries that started and finished last year, I want to say. Maybe the final issue aired this year. Released. And it is a really enjoyable little selection. It is a story. I guess I should say as well, spoiler alert for this video. If you have not read any of these stories, I am going to get into some spoilers for them. I'm going to try to not do, like, too big of a spoiler for them. I'm going to try to leave it to where you can still be interested, but I will probably talk about a few things that may be a spoiler. So if that is something you don't want, feel free to check out another one of my videos. I am not offended if you click out of this because you don't want to be spoiled. All right, so into Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum. This is a story, essentially, that tells the tale of Superman and Superman and Batman discovering more colors of kryptonite and essentially experimenting on them by using them on Superman to discover what effects they have on the Kryptonian biology. And it is a very enjoyable read. It is start to finish just a fun story, and each issue kind of has its own enjoyability. Like, it's not necessarily something I would say, oh, you can read each individual issue by itself and it be, a good story. Like, it probably would be all right, but it does serve itself better together. That being said, though, this is a story that was a lot of fun, had a lot of heart and soul. The art grew on me quite a bit. If you're a fan of Ice Cream Man, you'll probably really enjoy this art. This is the same creative team behind Ice Cream Man. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a lot of fun, so that's why I had to put it at my number 10. Moving on to number 9. And number 9 on this list is going to be a single issue series, and that is going to go to Superman Red and Blue 2025 Special. This had various writers and artists on this book, and it contained multiple stories. And I thought each of those stories had a lot of heart, soul, and fun, and really captured what I feel makes Superman as a character who he is and what makes him as popular as he is. Very much captured the idea of this hopeful superhero character, and I thought every story in this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It had a lot of heart, a lot of soul, and I had to put it on this list, so that's why it's at number 9. Moving on to number 8. Number 8 is going to go to another single issue series. And this one's actually going to go to a holiday issue. That is right. Those of you who've seen this channel for a while probably know this is Spider-Man Holiday Spectacular 2025. This is a fantastic story. This is, again, various writers, various artists, and essentially tells the story of the superhero community finding out that Peter Parker Spider-Man is going to be alone for Christmas because Aunt May is on a cruise for the holidays, and basically goes through all of the different superhero teams as well as the solo heroes, consistently trying to get Spider-Man to come to their holiday event. And it's really nice. It's got a lot of a lot of heartfelt enjoyment, and it's it's such a family and like friendship and togetherness story. It was perfect for the holidays, and that's coming from somebody who's not really like that big of a holiday person. Actually, I'm kind of a humbug, so to impress me with a holiday themed book that isn't Halloween is a difficult ask, and they succeeded very well on this one, so that's why I had to put it at number 8. Moving on to number 7. And number 7 on this list is going to go to another 5-issue miniseries, and that is Blue Falcon and Dynomutt. I should have put the creative team on this one. It's the only one for some reason I don't have the writer on. But whoever did the writing on it was very good. It was a very enjoyable series. I will say I think the finale could have been a little bit better, but it was a very enjoyable series. And as far as I know, this was a 5-issue one and done. Now, maybe they'll come back and announce a volume 2, and if that ends up being the case, then I apologize for putting this on this list when it wasn't actually eligible. But as of the recording of this video, this is an eligible entry on this list. So, Blue Falcon and Dynomutt, it is the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon, retold in a new story. You don't need to have watched the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon or know anything about the characters in order to enjoy this. It very much introduces you to the characters, to their origin story and stuff in the first couple of issues. Actually, I believe in the first issue. And it is a story that's just enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. If you like dogs, this is going to be a story that, like, it's good. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of it's not a huge amount of action, but it is just a lot of heart and soul, which is why I had to put it at number 7. And that is going to bring us down to number 6. And number 6 on this list is going to go to The Invisible Man by James Tynion IV. This is a Universal Monster story, and based on the Invisible Man, the Universal Monster character. And this is such a good story. Like, it's another 5-issue, like not one and done, but 5 and done. And it's got a lot of really good character writing in it. There's not a lot of action in this book. It is not something, if you're looking for, crazy over-the-top fight sequences and, all that, this is not the book for you. But if you want kind of this sort of science, this, kind of mad scientist type character slowly, being more and more corrupt as he is trying to figure out this formula for invisibility, not immortality. This is the story. This is a good story. It's got really good characters. The main character is very enjoyable, and it's very, like, it raises a lot of philosophical questions in a way, you know what I mean? Like leaving you with wondering, like, what would you do if no one could see you? You know, what would you do if you knew that you could get away with whatever you were doing because you were invisible? You know, like, what would you do? Where would you go? What would you watch? And it asks a lot of these questions in a very intriguing way, and the answers aren't necessarily the answers that I would have expected out of this series, which is why it retained as much of an intrigue to me as it did from issue to issue. And then that final issue, I felt, was a very satisfying conclusion that, while did leave open for potential follow-ups, I do feel was a very much self-contained story and does not have a confirmed continuation at this point, so that is why I'm gonna put it at number 6. Moving on to number 5. And number 5 on this list, we are now in the top 5, so I'm gonna have physical copies of these top 5s, and we might get a little more in depth talking about these. So let's just do another spoiler warning here, just in case. I'm, again, going to try not to spoil too much so that if you hear a story that you think sounds interesting to you, you can leave this video and go pick it up and read it. But I'm going to gush about some of these. So, number 5 on this list is going to 8 Billion Genies by Charles Soule. Soule? Soul with an E. This story is a lot of fun. So essentially, what this story is if every person in the world at the exact same time, suddenly had a genie appear before them and tell them that they have been given a single wish, and that they can wish for basically whatever they want, and that genie will grant them. And everybody knows that everybody in the world got a genie at the same time. And so this book follows in the chaos, the utter chaos and insanity that would ensue when everybody can get their wish granted at the same time. And it becomes a very interesting story that takes place over intervals of time that are in periods of 8. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but so the first portion of the book is the first 8 seconds after the genies appear. Then you get to the first 8 minutes, the first 8 hours, the first 8 days, and it goes all the way up to the last 8 centuries. And it tells the story, essentially, of what happens to humanity and our world when every person on our world, from commoners to presidents, from kings to people cleaning the chamber pot for the king, everybody is given a wish at the same time. What are the aftermaths of that absolute chaos? And it is chaos incarnate. It is nutty. The storytelling is great. The characters, though, are so well written, and I cannot stress enough how enjoyable these characters are. And I've also got to actually shout out Ryan Brown's art throughout this, because their art throughout this story is phenomenal, and it's so much fun. And just getting to read through this story was so much fun. So I'm so grateful that I picked this up. And you should definitely go check it out if you have not, and if this sounds intriguing to you. It is an Image comic book. It is, I think, a 8-issue series. Yeah, it's an 8-issue series. It's got this deluxe hardcover out that you can go purchase, and I would recommend this deluxe hardcover edition, honestly, just because the art is so good that, like, this oversized art is awesome and so much fun to look at. So that is my number 5 on my list. We are going to move on to my number 4. And my number 4 on this list is going to be my first, but not my last, entrance by my favorite comic writer of all time, Jonathan Hickman. This is Jonathan Hickman's 2015 Secret Wars run. Now, I love that I've got this particular copy signed, but this story is a lot of fun. It is something that I kept up on as it was releasing back in the day. I didn't read every tie-in, but I did keep up on this as it was dropping, and it was amazing and so much fun. Such a good read. The art by Esad Ribic, I believe, is such good art. And yeah, so we've got, I also have the omnibus, but it's put up on my shelf, so I grabbed my trade paperback to show you guys. But it's not, super big. There are bigger editions. Again, the omnibus covers a lot more of the information in it. But this story is so much fun. This particular event is just, it's insane. And I mean, shout out to the fact that this is going to be the basis for Avengers Secret Wars in a few years. Yeah, this is just so much fun, such a good read, and I cannot recommend it enough if you like these big, crazy, multiversal events, and you like Marvel heroes, and you for some reason haven't read Secret Wars yet. Go read Secret Wars. What are you doing? You shouldn't need me to tell you to go read Secret Wars, but go read Secret Wars, man. Like, what are we doing? Go read Secret Wars. Next up on my list is number 3. And number 3 is a story that just ended. And this is Everything Dead and Dying. This is a story by Tate Brombal. And this story is freaking amazing, okay? This is a zombie survival book. I did actually just review this final issue, just the other day on my Monday weekly comic book review video. So if you want to watch a little bit more in-depth review of the final issue of this and the series as a whole, you can go check out that video. But this story is essentially, it is a zombie book, and this is the best zombie story I have ever read. Like, completely. The best, hands down, the best zombie story I have ever read. It is essentially the idea that this farmer character here he's a family man. He has a husband and an adopted daughter that he loves very much. They end up getting infected with this zombie virus and turning into the undead. Rather than hunting the undead, killing the undead, he decides to coexist with the undeads. He's just feeding and taking care of them like they were animals in his farm. He is, making sure that they are keeping their routines, and he's noticing that they are not necessarily as hostile to him when he's like feeding and taking care of them. And that they even have like these muscle memories, like his little girl still jumps into his bed in the morning to wake him up, like his husband is standing in front of the stove like he was cooking breakfast, you know what I mean? Just these muscle memories that they run on. And it is essentially this story of a man who wants to protect his family even though they are zombies, and his town even though they are zombies, from survivors. And it's a very interesting take, a very emotional take on a zombie book. And I loved everything about this series. Its art is phenomenal, a bit gory, but I mean, you're expecting that for a zombie book. So the art is phenomenal, the action is great, but the emotions are so good. And it makes you tear up. And the way it ends was just phenomenal. It is one that, again, I think leaves itself open to a potential continuation. But as of right now, there is no confirmed continuation. So it is still eligible for this list. And that is how it ended up at number 3. Let's move on to number 2. And number 2 on this list, another Jonathan Hickman story. We have got Jonathan Hickman's, what is it? The Countdown to Casualty event. One moment. We've got this Countdown to Casualty event here. This is a storyline within Hickman's Fantastic Four run, and Hickman's Fantastic Four run in general is phenomenal, and you should definitely read it. But in particular, this storyline from it. This is the death of one of the Fantastic Four members. This is a story from ages ago, so you've probably heard of it already. But one of the Fantastic Four members dies. And this issue in particular, the final issue of it, issue 588 of Fantastic Four, is a month of mourning for that hero. And there is a moment in this that I still to this day think is the best written emotional moment in all of comic books. I think it is just beyond incredible. And this entire story, this whole storyline is just amazing. And I love everything about it, start to finish. The emotional weight behind this is great, especially if you're taking this and then you're going to finish reading this and then read Secret Wars by him, because this leads into Hickman's Secret Wars. This, however, it stands apart in a league of its own, because his emotional writing, his character writing, it's so well put out, especially in this issue, but in this entire run, that it just had to end up at my number 2 spot. But now, we're moving on to my number 1 spot. And my number 1 spot on this list is going to go to a Daniel Warren Johnson book. And it is amazing. Everything I have said about almost every other story on this list, every positive about damn near every story on this list, can be reflected tenfold in the story I'm about to talk about here. And that is Daniel Warren Johnson's Murder Falcon. This made me cry. The ending of this story made me cry. Thinking about it now has got me almost tearing up a little bit. I finished this just the other day, and I've not been able to stop thinking about it. This is the reason I made this video, because I wanted to come up with a way to make a video where I could talk about this book to you guys. Because this, if you've never read a Daniel Warren Johnson book, read this. If you're into metal, read this. If you are into emotional gut punch stories that, like, emotional but in a good way, that make you feel things, read this. It is amazing. So this story essentially is set basically in our world. Our main character here, Jake, is a metal guitarist who was in a metal band prior to it disbanding, and is kind of down in the dumps and in a rough spot in his life. Very much things are not going his way. Until a character by the name of Murder Falcon shows up and tells Jake that he has been sent here by a force in the universe called the Heavy to join forces with Jake in order to combat monsters. There are horrific monsters attacking Earth, and the only way they can defeat these monsters is by Murder Falcon destroying the shit out of them. The only way that Murder Falcon can destroy these monsters, however, is by being powered through Jake's playing. And over the course of this, they reunite his former band and formulate this group of people using the power of metal to combat and defeat monsters in order to save the world. And I mean, it's over the top and crazy, but in the best possible ways. The action is amazing. The art is, I mean, out of this world. out of this world phenomenal. The story is emotional and heavy, and it will make you cry by the end. And it is amazing how well written this story is. I so badly would love to see I don't know how they could do a sequel to this, because this is the perfect story. Like, this is a very perfect self-contained story with a wonderful ending. A very satisfying, tear-jerking, but satisfying ending. I don't know how they could possibly follow that up. But it is a story that, if they did announce a follow-up somehow, I would be all over it, because this story is so good. I'm just gushing over how incredible this is. And in this oversized hardcover is even better. You get just all of this sick art that is just phenomenal. The end of this, you've got a massive sketchbook of things. But like, some of this art is just so like dark, and there's so much like heavy metal imagery. There's so much like, like action and explosions and colors and everything. But it also, if you are a metalhead, if you like metal music, you're gonna love this book, because there are so many references to metal. There's so many like, I don't want to give away too much, but like, the end of this is very much a huge reference to metal, and to a very, very incredible metal musician in particular. And my God, the story's so good. I can't believe how much I loved it. I can't gush it enough. Daniel Warren Johnson is slowly becoming he might surpass. If I keep, this is my first full Daniel Warren Johnson story, not counting the first 24 issues of Transformers. This is my first Daniel Warren Johnson story that I've really like read in full, start to finish. Man, I've got a few others on my read list for the year. If his writing is anything as consistent in other books as it was in this, he might surpass Jonathan Hickman as my favorite comic writer of all time. His writing was amazing, and this story is absolutely the best comic I've ever read. Hands down, bar none. This is beautiful. It is phenomenal. Even if I didn't have any rules on this list and I could include anything, even ongoings, this would still be number one. That is how good this is. If you've not read this, and if this sounds even remotely interesting to you, do yourself a favor, go online, pick up this deluxe hardcover edition, and give it a read. You will not be disappointed. That is going to bring it to the end of this top 10. I want to say thank you again for anybody who has stayed by this whole video and watched until now. If you enjoyed this video at any point, please drop a like, leave a comment, or subscribe. Any kind of feedback or commentary you can leave this channel is always greatly appreciated. I'm always looking forward to having a conversation in the comments below with you about comic books. Comic books are my passion, and if you're watching this channel, I imagine they are yours as well. I just want to say thank you again for checking out this channel and this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or check out my channel for more comic book content to come. With that being said, I will see you guys tomorrow in my new comic book day vlog. Have yourself a fantastic day, a fantastic week, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.